Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Live at 4:45. I'm going to be at my kids' recital here this afternoon at 4:45, so we're getting her done now. I just want to touch base, say hello, and been getting an extreme kick out of everybody's comments in respect to me shaving my facial hair off. It's been a hilarious, a lot of fun, but it just made me realize, Roberto, what's going on, brother? Ron Wallace, get out of Costa Rica, dude. You're making me jealous. I'm about done seeing pictures of warm weather and tropical environments. But, yeah, so I shaved my beard, and it's been hilarious, the comments. If you get bored, go read some of them. Some of them are pretty funny. There's some pretty funny pictures of guys shaving beards and then showing up like baby face. But, appearances are all that we have to go on in a lot of times, and so a lot of times we put a lot of weight on those appearances. And to be honest with you, I do grow a beard in some respects, almost subconsciously, because over the course of time, I've realized that people end up taking me a little bit more serious when I have facial hair. When I show up to a job site, and I run a company and I have employees, and I look like this, people think I'm some adolescent, who doesn't have any experience. When I show up with a beard, for whatever reason, people have a tendency to show a little bit more respect and think that maybe I know what I'm doing. And that's just the nature of it. But appearances can make a tremendous difference. And so today I'm going to tell you a little story. And I love this story. And it has to do with appearances. So here we go. Saddle up. It was a few years ago, many years ago, and a couple strolled in and onto the campus of Harvard University. Now, Harvard University is one of the most prominent educational institutions in our country and probably in the world. It is well respected and well known, and this couple walked onto the campus of Harvard University. The woman was wearing a plain and faded gray dress. The husband was wearing a very plain, well-used suit, and yet they carried themselves very well, and they walked like they know where they were going. They walked right to the office of the president. They walked in, they talked to the secretary in the outer office, and they said, "We'd like to speak to the president of Harvard University." And the secretary kind of looks at him and looks at their clothes, and you can tell that she's like, "What in the world are you doing on the campus of Harvard University?" And she says, "Well, do you have an appointment?" And they said, "Well, no, but it's very important. We would really like to meet with the president." She goes, "Wow, this president of Harvard University he's a busy man, and people wait weeks, months to see the president of Harvard University. I really don't see how you're going to be able to feel like you can walk in and see the president of the president of the United States, president of Harvard University." And they go, well, "It's really important. And we're willing to wait." And the secretary goes, "Well, all right." And so they go sit down quietly and they wait for a couple hours. And a couple hours go by, and every once in a while the secretary will look up, just hoping that they're going to get fed up with it and walk out the door. And she goes over to him. She goes, "The president, I just really don't think this is going to happen today. Why don't you come back another day? We'll set up an appointment." And they go, "No, we really need to talk to him today." So another couple hours go by. They're there over 4 hours and waiting to meet the president. Finally, the secretary goes back into the president's office. She goes, "Mr. President, there's these paupers out here, and they're dressed up. I don't even know why they're here. They look like they're, pretty poor people, but, they really say they would like to meet you. And could you just give them 2 minutes so we can get them out of our office, because they're like, they're downgrading our office. They're, I don't know. We just don't want people coming in to Harvard and then seeing these people here." And he goes, "All right, I'll take 2 minutes and I'll see him. Show him in." So she went and said, "Okay, ma'am and sir, he will see you now." And so they walked in quietly and respectfully, and the president didn't really even look up over the top of his glasses. He just motioned him into the seat as he was looking over paperwork, and he goes, "Yeah, okay, what can I do for you?" And they said, "Well, Mr. President, our son attended Harvard University, and the year that he attended Harvard University was the best year that he had. He loved it here. He loved the people here. He loved the professors here, and it was just a phenomenal experience. And yet, unfortunately and sadly, our husband, where were we? Our son, unfortunately, our son passed away from a horrible accident, and he is no longer with us. But we would like to donate a memorial to Harvard University because we just know how special this time was here for our son. And the president goes, "Are you serious? You want us to set up a statue for your son? You know, if we did that, we'd have, statues all over this. And this is Harvard University." He goes, "We can't do that." And the lady goes, "Oh, no, Mr. President, we were wanting to donate a building for Harvard University. We'd like to donate a business." And the president just goes, "People, this is Harvard University. Do you know how much it cost for the last building that we had erected here on the campus? It cost over $7.5 million. And the lady looks over at the husband, and the husband looks over at the wife, and they're quiet for a moment, and the president's like, finally it sunk in that these people are on the wrong campus, in the wrong place. They don't belong here. Obviously, they don't have enough money to be here. I don't know how they sent their son here, and maybe it's finally started to sink in. And in that same moment, the wife leans over to the husband, and she goes, "Is that all it costs for a university building? Well, maybe we should just start our own." And the husband looks at the wife and nods and says, "You know what? I think that's what we're going to do." And they said, "Mr. President, thank you for your time." And they walked out that office as quietly as they'd walked in. And they walked right to Southern California, where Mr. and Mrs. Leland Stanford started on their own Stanford University, which bears their name, a memorial to their son. Appearances. How do we look at people? How do we treat people? What is the focus of what we see in people? My hope and prayer today is that we don't just look at a fading dress or a well-worn suit, that we don't just look at the outward appearance of people, but that we see people for who they are. We hear people. We feel people. We realize that we are the people, and we need to accept each and every person as we would want to be accepted. Powerful story, powerful example. Wherever you're at, whatever you're doing today, love it, live it, make it count. We'll talk to you tomorrow.